Hey everybody, welcome to my channel again. This is Joe Jaguar. So today's video is going to be very simple. It's actually one that I just answered last Friday, a few days ago that passed. Usually new people don't understand it, is how to align your equatorial mount to Polaris or north, but then how do you look south, well, where the planets are. So I just answered that question, but a lot of people just don't understand it. So I just wanted to make that video quickly for you. My last video, I said that I was going to do that one last week, but I thought, I changed my mind, so I'm going to do it today. So here we are. So we are set up as an EQ mount. Hopefully you can, let me angle that a little bit down so you can see. I'm not sure if you'll fully see my head, but we'll see. That's not too bad. So right now we're in, you can see it's an equatorial mount. This is the Meade of Polaris 127 EQ. It's an EQ2. Okay, so I got my latitude because I know latitude 42 north. So I already have that already set. So that's something that you have to do, and that's on this figure here. Hopefully you guys can see that. So once that's done, now this mount, EQ1s, EQ2s, do not have what's called a polar scope finder, but a simple way to do it is this angle right here. This right here, if you just pretend this has a whole opening here, what you could do is find Polaris. Now the best way to find Polaris is, and this is going back to the basics, is to find your constellations first. So the two stars that are the Big Dipper bowl stars actually point 28 degrees to Polaris. Now your finger, if you do like that, that's about 25. So it's a little bit more than that with your hand fully extended out. So again, find the Big Dipper. The two bowl stars, the two tip of the bowl, points directly to Polaris. So what I would say, just to get a pretty good, it doesn't have to be accurate for visual, but pretty good accurate polar alignment is just crouch down and on this angle, just kind of find Polaris and just put it as close as you can. That's good enough because the EQ1s, EQ2s does not have that type of really fine adjustment called the polar scope or the bore scope. So it's kind of like, has a hole where you put an eyepiece. It's not really an eyepiece, but just to keep it simple, it's similar to an eyepiece where you put it in, and I will show that mount next, that type. Anyway, so once it's polar aligned, I read people saying, let me just angle it a little up again now that I heard people say, do they now twist the whole thing, the whole thing like that, and now view south? No, that's, you just now unpolar aligned. So to stay polar aligned, again, on this mount, just kind of as the angle here, just trying to find Polaris and eyeball it, that's good enough. Now, to make this scope go south, you have to, they're going to be on weird angles. And EQ, any EQ, regardless if it's a refractor or a reflector, when viewing out of it, you're going to have these weird angles, and that's probably why new people don't understand it. So if I want to go south, it's going to be on some, that kind of angle like that. So you never touch the mount again. And if the focuser is in a weird place, like let's say for instance here. So after you lock it down, I don't have the slow motion controls on it anyway. You could just loosen the tube rings. You could even view, I got to loosen it more. You can just twist it. You could even view that way. Put your eyepiece here. That's fine. So let's go to this angle. If you are now that kind of angle, again, if the focuser is too low, just raise it like that, and there you go. So let me lock it down. Of course, I didn't lock it down. I'm not perfectly counterbalanced anyway, and then you can use your slow motion wherever. So you're going to have these weird angles like that, and that's normal. So again, you could unloosen your rings, twist your tube to where you can see the focuser, and then there you go. So that's how you polar line, keep it north, and then while viewing south. Okay, so let's grab now another mount that has a polar scope built into it. Actually, I don't have the polar scope actually in it, but it comes where you can buy it extra. The polar scopes usually are about $40 to $50 Canadian. And let's see if you can see this one. I might have to angle it a little lower. So this is Skywatcher's EQ3-2. This is a slightly older model, 10, 12 years old or so like that, but it's fine. The new version, slightly different. I'm not going to go into it. But the difference is, you can see there's a hole. I think you can see there's a hole. Let me see the front part. Let me, okay, so you can see right here, there's a hole there, and on the opposite side, you can see the back of it. This is where you would put the the polar finder, and then the same thing. So it's the same concept where now you put your eyepiece here, the polar scope here. You put it to Polaris again. The two bull stars of the Dipper will get you there, and then you just put it. It has like a circle, a small little circle. Put it in there. Again, that's not 100% accurate. Polaris is actually half a degree away from true celestial north, but that's good enough. So that's it. Again, you'll be at some weird angles because you won't touch the. Now you don't touch the mount once you're polar aligned, but you'll be doing again some weird angles like that. So that's what new people don't understand. And that's it. Hopefully that came out well where you can see it pretty good. And cheers. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.